Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are director Billy Van Zandt and actress Karen Sharpe Kraemer. Actor, writer, director, Billy Van Zandt was born and raised in Middletown, New Jersey. He spent a month at Montclair State College, and by the time you got to college, you were already writing and acting.
Yes.
Why was it such a short time in college?
When I was in high school, my father said, you have to go to college, you have to have something to fall back on. And I said, but I don't plan on falling back, so why should I go? And so what I did, I got accepted in a bunch of colleges, and I picked the one that was the cheapest because I knew he was losing his money. So I went to Montclair, which at the time I believe was $700 for the year.
But it was close to home, too?
Close to home, and close to New York, so I could go audition.
Oh, right.
And then the auditions got in the way of the school, and I sort of never went back to the school.
You really didn't need it, but you were already in high school teaching an acting class.
I ran a children's theater at a local theater that we all used to go to.
How did you do that? I mean, you were very young.
I was very young, yeah. It started with, I had great teachers in high school. I had great drama teachers. They sort of encouraged me to do everything. And there was a local theater, the Barn Theater, and everybody from high school used to go and work out there. And they wouldn't let you
mean
act.
they'd act there?
Yeah. They wouldn't let you act in the shows unless you did the children's theater, because the adults had to do the real acting, you know. So I was very cocky back then. I'm still cocky, but I was very cocky back then, and I talked them into letting me run the children's theater program. So I would write a different show every week and direct it, and it was good training to go into television later on.
And you were writing, directing?
Yeah.
And then when did you meet your writing partner?
That was while I was in high school.
Still?
Yeah,
I can't believe it. It's like a marriage?
You could say that.
Jane Milmore?
Yes. We met back there. We actually dated for a long time.
Oh, you did?
And while we were writing together, we realized we were better off just writing together, so we stopped that.
Well, how important was she to your writing career?
Crucial.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
How does that happen? I don't get it. Can't you write alone?
Yeah, and I have. I've done, there's an off-Broadway show I did just a couple of years ago that was just me. What you find when you have a partner is all your weaknesses that person fills. And so it strengthens everything you do. She'd be good with the dramatic moments, and I'd be going for the physical comedy, and then we blend them together, sort of.
And it lasted a long, long time.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to say how long because she still looks 25.
Oh, but it lasted longer than she looks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you still writing with her?
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, we've got 23 plays together. They're all published with Samuel French in New York, and they're done all over the world. So we're done in all different countries, all different languages.
Where does she live?
We split our time, both of us, from New Jersey and New York, and out here.
Oh, so can you write if she's not physically here with you?
Yeah, a lot of times we'll write and we'll email it back and forth to each other, but for the most part, we're together.
Then when you started acting not as a child actor, really, high school, right?
High school.
But was there show business in your family? Was your father?
None. My father was an ex-Marine, engineer, and
very macho, masculine.
It was the worst day of his life when he said, "You're trying out for the baseball team," and I said, "No, I'm going to be in the chorus of Oliver." It ruined his night. My brother's a musician. He sort of paved the way of getting...
Is he older?
Yeah.
And so he was acting or singing?
Singing, a musician. He's with Bruce Springsteen's band, and you know him from The Sopranos. He acted on that and all that.
Yes, we know who he is, right?
Okay.
Steve Van Zandt.
Yeah.
Steve Van Zandt. But did he influence you? Did he help you along the way?
I sort of stayed out of the music business, and he stayed out of the theater business.
That's what I wondered.
And then we crossed into each other's fields, and now I write music and he acts, and yeah.
But do you do music too?
Well, we've written, I think, 5 musicals.
You and Jane, or you and Steve?
No, Jane and myself. We every project we take on, we try and do something we've never done before and something that scares us.
I think that's so great.
Yeah.
So here you were, you're running this children's thing. Mm-hmm. Your brother is singing or playing the guitar somewhere.
Right.
Your father's a mechanic.
Yeah.
And you're running an acting school or high school.
Yeah.
How did you juggle acting, writing, auditioning? How'd you do that all? Because you were in New Jersey.
Yeah, I started.
What did you have to do? Take the boat across?
Took the bus. Took the bus to New York for auditions. Okay. I started out as an actor, and then I started writing to give myself something to act in.
That's what I wondered.
Because there was no Billy Van Zandt role. You know, I was like, I'd go up for things, and I just didn't fit that. I didn't fit that, so I wrote my own things. And then I started directing, so no one would mess up my writing. And then Jane and I started producing, so nobody would mess up the direction. So we probably do way too much. But
when you say you have 23 plays and they're published and playing all over, do you go to some of those places?
We have. We don't do a lot of that. When I first came out to L.A. and I was writing for television, somebody was doing one of our shows down south, and somebody on the writing staff said, "Billy, they're doing one of your shows. Let's go see it." So a bunch of us went down to see it, and I walked
down
into
south.
I don't want to say where it was because then we'll be insulted.
Okay.
So I walked in and they had pictures of the production all over the place, and I said, "They're doing one of our farces, but they're all wearing brown. Something's not right here." So we walked in, and I read the back of the program, and it was a letter from the director explaining my play, and obviously he had no idea what he was talking about, and it was so horrible that we said, we don't want to go to any more of these. We just don't want to go anymore.
So you just write and let them do it?
Well, we write. We do the original shows back east. Then we publish them, and there are a lot of good productions out there. But
I'm sure. But did they call you and ask you for advice?
Sometimes, thanks to Facebook, they can all find me.
Oh, they can find you. Yeah. So, in the '80s, you were doing film and TV, and you worked with Sean Penn and Tom Cruise and Lucy Ball.
Yeah, that was fun.
What were you doing at that time?
For Lucy, she was the reason I got into the business in the first place. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to do what they did on I Love Lucy. I thought
who didn't? We all want to do that.
And I got to work with her because my friend Ann Dusenberry, who was in the movie Jaws 2 with me, she played Lucy's daughter on her last series. And she called me up and she said, I'm playing Lucy's daughter, and I called my mother first, and I'm calling you second because I know how you feel. So I flew out to L.A. and I watched Lucy work, and I saw a thing in a script. I'm truncating this really badly, but I saw a thing in the script that said there was a guest spot for next week. So I got to audition for it, and I got the role, and I got it was a couple lines, but I got to work with her.
And you were on the set with her, which was
fantastic.
Great.
Yeah.
Was she really like this?
She was really sharp, really sharp.
And prepared, of course.
Incredibly prepared, yeah.
And then what about the film with Sean Penn and?
That was a movie called Taps with George C.
that.
Scott and Tim Hutton and Sean, and it was Tom Cruise's second movie, I think.
That was a great movie, wasn't it?
It was really fun.
And did you have to audition for that? Or
Yeah.
did you know somebody that you could just walk in?
It was the same casting director that cast me in Jaws 2, named Shirley Rich, and she was great. And she brought me in for that. And we spent a day in New York, all the actors doing improvs and working with each other, and they finally settled on all of us, and we went down to Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, where we worked 4 weeks rehearsing and drilling and learning how to do a manual of arms, all this stuff, and then we shot the film.
Did you lose a lot of weight?
Back then I was like 100 pounds all the time. So
it did.
No, it didn't
but you weren't losing because you were like working out, that you weren't used to working out.
Yeah.
So then, from our TV to our plays, and you've got Hate Mail.
You've Got Hate Mail, it's called.
But You've Got Hate Mail. Okay, it was before You've Got Mail, right?
No, we did it the first time in 2007.
Oh, so it was.
I had seen love letters, and I sat in the audience going, why didn't I think of this? It's two people reading scripts.
Right.
So we came up with this, which was 5 people. Jane had gone through a divorce, and it was not pretty. And
Jane, your
my
writing partner, not married to you.
No, and which she's grateful for every day, I think. And she and the ex-husband had sent each other emails back and forth, and they were terrible. And I said to Jane, hang on to these. We can use these someday.
Oh, stop it.
So we got the idea of the story of a divorce told through email. The husband, played by me, sends an email to his wife, but it was supposed to go to his girlfriend, and that's how the whole thing unravels.
Is that right?
And so we've done that in New York for 4 years now, and that's the one that's done all over the country.
That goes all over.
Yeah.
So do you have celebrities do that right?
Yeah.
Fit into those situations?
It was designed so the script is right on the laptop computer, so if you
Yeah.
can't be in there one night, you get a guest star in, and he can read the script right there.
Oh, is that
Richard
right?
Kind did it for us, Julia Duffy. I'm blanking on every name right now.
But a lot of
yeah.
stars like that did it?
Yeah.
The other one that was a really big one was Property.
The property known as Garland.
Yeah, what is that?
That was a one-woman show, 2 people in it, so it's not
One
fair.
woman show?
But it was basically a one-woman show for Adrienne Barbeau to star as Judy Garland in her backstage at her what would turn out to be her final concert appearance.
Oh,
and she tells
yes.
her life story to the audience, basically. And I refused to put any music in it because I thought if she sings even one note, no one's going to care what she has to say. They're just going to wait for the next song.
So you wrote the whole thing?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
how did you write it? What kind of research did you do?
I read everything there was. I went back to every interview Garland ever gave, so I could really sort of tell the story in her own words. And we did it at the Actors Playhouse off Broadway, and they broke some box office records, which was nice.
I heard
yeah.
it was just
yeah.
like totally sold out all the time.
It was great.
Did you do it here at all?
No, we workshopped it out here. I take that back. Yeah.
Could you continue it?
We could.
I mean,
yeah.
Adrienne doesn't have to be in it.
No.
Adrienne Barbeau doesn't have to star in it. Could somebody else star in it?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, out of the blue, Burt Reynolds just directed it down in Florida. And I only found out about it a week before it opened.
Oh, so they did. So they did.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the other thing, I know you've done a lot of TV work and you've gotten a lot of awards. And one of them was Daddy Dearest.
Daddy Dearest.
And the Wayans Brothers
Wayans
you worked
Brothers,
with.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you do on those things?
I created the shows and executive produced them and wrote them.
And wrote them
Yeah,
and produced them. Did you act in them too?
I did on Daddy Dearest. I did.
You did.
It's usually Jane and I usually find ourselves in some little role.
Does
somewhere.
Jane get to be in the?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jane gets to act too.
Yeah, we're in all the plays.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And then right now, you're working with Ronnie Marmo.
Yes, Ronnie.
And then what is that? 68 Cent.
Theater 68.
Theater 68
in North Hollywood. He's been asking me for 5 years to get the rights to Drop Dead. We don't allow any of the rights to our shows to be in L.A.
Why
or New
not?
York.
Why not?
Because I don't have control over them, and Jane and I end up getting reviewed for it.
Oh,
So unless it's our production, we don't want anybody doing it.
I see.
So, but Ronnie did 2 of our shows in the past, and he did good jobs with them. So
He's really great. When he first started in that theater company, I had him on the air,
yeah.
and I thought he's the perfect gangster type, isn't he? It was like
Yeah, he
perfect
is.
roles
He
for
is.
him to go out.
He is.
And he started the theater and kept it going for quite some time
yeah,
now.
and they just bought a new space down the street from where they are now, and they're putting in 2 different theaters at the same spot.
That's really great.
Yeah.
He's really doing well. So tell us about Drop Dead.
Drop Dead is it turned into a cult show because it's about actors, some desperate, pathetic actor has-beens putting on an off Broadway show to try and revive their careers.
Uh-huh.
And during the production, actors start getting killed. So the ego of the actor who was on stage, they could run away or call the police, but they decide they're going to get through the show, solve the murder, so they can be stars again. And it's really crazy, really broad physical comedy.
Did you cast it?
Yeah, we used.
Are you directing it too?
I directed it, and we used Ronnie's theater company.
Oh, they're in
Yeah,
it. They're
yeah.
working it. So, what kind of style of directing do you have compared to other directors? Because you've been directed by a lot of
I have.
people.
There's nothing subtle about the way I direct. I would say that. I did a show with Penny Marshall once, and I saw the way she talked to Michael McKean and all the people that she normally worked with, and I went, "That's the way I talk to my friend."
You mean tough?
Yeah, blunt.
Blunt? Oh, tough, blunt.
But no, it's a really good company of people there, and I really enjoyed working with them.
And how long will this go? Will it go other places in L.A. or?
I don't know. I don't know. They could move it to another theater, to their new theater, because their lease is up, I guess, where they are right now.
As long as you're in it. As long as you're...
I'm not in it.
No, but as long as you're a part of it.
Yeah,
it
right.
Can stay here.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, Drop Dead.
Drop Dead.
Billy Van Zandt, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back with Karen Sharpe Kraemer. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're back with actress, writer, Karen Sharpe Kraemer, who was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, attended Hollywood Professional School while modeling and pursuing a career in TV and stage and film. Karen went to the School for Professional Actors, right?
Exactly.
But you founded a school too for children.
I did.
Was it based on the same kind of idea?
No, it was not.
Was it?
No, I founded a school when my family decided to move out of Beverly Hills. When I was married to Stanley Kramer, we had 2 little children, and we decided to move to Seattle.
Did you all move, the whole family?
The whole family moved. We decided that... I love Beverly Hills, don't get me wrong. I thought it was a lovely way to live for an adult, but we felt for children it wasn't realistic, and Stanley and I wanted to go into a more normal upbringing for them.
And so did it
Yes.
turn out to be a more normal?
Well,
sometimes you wonder.
Well, I look back on it now and I wonder, because my youngest daughter wanted to be an equestrian, and of course there were horses there, and she did become that. And Kat, my oldest daughter, wanted to be an actress, and we wanted to kind of get her out of that and just kind of get her into a normalcy. But when she went to Seattle with us, next to New York, Seattle has the greatest theater in the country. She said, thank you. She just went to work.
I was just going to say, Seattle has really fabulous little theaters and a lot of music and really,
the rep wins all the Tonys.
Oh, that's right, the Seattle
So
rep.
she just went to work immediately. She played all the young parts.
Well, how did that make you feel?
Well,
because here you are running away from it.
Well, we just didn't know Seattle well enough, I guess. At the time, we went up there for a couple of days as a little kind of like a little break, and I fell in love with it. And so did Stanley, and so we just decided we saw a house on Saturday.
Was it on one of the islands?
It was on Bellevue Bellevue Island.
Oh,
It's not an
yeah,
island,
yeah.
but Bellevue, right across the way from Seattle, and Mercer Island was to the
Beautiful.
left. It was on a bluff overlooking Lake Union, and you could see all the Seattle across the way between the 2 bridges, and it was a fabulous. We spent about 13 years there.
Could you continue to act? Did you
I didn't.
continue?
No,
You
the
did
minute
not.
I married Stanley, I gave it up. I don't think you can worship 2 masters.
Did he also continue to work while you were up there?
When we were up there, we made 1 film. He had 1 film left that he owed to United Artists, and so we decided to make it there. It was the first full-length movie. It was so refreshing not to have that. Sometimes frustrating,
but on
very
the other hand,
refreshing. And we made this film, and of course, it became Hollywood North. And very active up there now, But it was great when we were there. And I had a school for young people.
That's what I was talking about.
Well,
Kat
establishing
a show.
was playing, Helen Keller and Anne Frank. She'd only choose the really great pieces of theater to do, and she played David and Lisa, and then Great Expectations. And
were you kind of like a stage mom by that time?
Well, I don't like to think of myself that way, but I think that probably is the case. I probably was, because I would go with her. She was too young.
Right, so you'd have to.
She went on to New York after that, but I opened up a school at Bellevue Community College called Karen Kraemer's Spotlight on Young People, and I had about 50 students in the summer.
That's what I was wondering, if you kind of modeled it after that Hollywood Professional School you went to.
We taught dancing, singing, writing, acting.
Was it after school?
No, it was in the summer only.
Oh, in the
summer program.
Because
I said, you think you want to be in this industry? Well, after you finish a summer with us, then you'll know whether you can stand it or not. Because it was a summer. They had to give up their summer. And we worked from 9 to 5.
How tough it was,
It was very tough. And I got great people to come up. And Jane Fonda came. I had Henry Winkler. I had all kinds of people come up and work with our kids for about 3 days. And Stanley directed the show at the end of the summer.
Oh, that's great.
And it was really successful. Some of my students, Brendan Fraser is one of my students, and Jane Addams, who won the Tony on Broadway and came here and did a lot of wonderful things. And a lot of my students are now in executive positions. I have to go to them for jobs now.
Were they coming from different parts of the country to come to the summer school?
They did the last couple of years. They came from Yale. They came from all kinds of places all over the country. Yeah, but originally it was just local.
That's what I thought. Yeah. That's fantastic.
It was great fun. It really was very satisfying.
I'm going back now. I'm going back to San Antonio. Was your family in show business? No.
No.
So when you came to LA and you were young and you were modeling and you were going, you
Well,
liked it?
my family's not in show business. Of course, I'm an only child. And when I was 9 years old, I saw a film called The Jolson Story about Al Jolson. Now, I'm not in music at all. But I just absolutely fell in love with that movie, and I fell in love with Larry Parks, and he was then married to Betty Garrett forever and ever.
Right.
And I absolutely worshipped her too, because I was not thinking, I didn't have a crush like a male, you know.
Right.
It was just who he was and what he was doing. And there was no way I was going to get out here, you know. But funny how fate
you
steps
saw
in.
this in Texas.
Oh yes, fate steps in. My uncle, who lived in Indiana, was promoted out here, and we came out to visit him. He was my father's only brother, and all I could think about was, can we see Larry Parks? Well, is that going to happen? No, except it happened.
It did happen?
The second day we were here, my uncle took me to the Beverly Hills Hotel as it's one of the, I guess it would be one of the things he wanted me to see, I guess. And
It's
as
like
we were
the
going,
Hollywood canteen,
well,
right?
it was
But
all
the
the
stars were
landmarks.
there.
It
Yes.
was like the landmark. So as we were entering the Beverly Hills Hotel, coming out of the Beverly Hills Hotel was Larry Parks and
Wow.
Betty Garrett.
Fantastic.
And of course that started. I said, oh my gosh. And I said, I have a scrapbook. I don't have it with me. He said, come to my house. Betty, and I'll sign it tomorrow, which I did.
Is that
And they
right?
did. I went back to San Antonio, Texas, and made my family's life miserable till I could get back out here.
And you got back right away.
I took up ice skating and it got very good, so I could come out here to study in the summertime. And all I could think about was getting a part in the motion picture.
So you were skating, you were thinking of any way that you could get back. And you did get a big break at 17 years old.
Yeah.
And how did that happen? Was
Well,
it The Sniper?
I did. I did a film called The Sniper, of Stanley Kramer's film. I didn't meet him at the time.
It was Stanley
Stanley
Kramer's.
Kramer was producing that film, and Eddie Dimitri was directing it. Had about 3 or 4 lines, but it paid for my entrance into SAG. And then I went on to Monogram and did 2 independent films, the lead, and then I got The High and the Mighty and got the Golden Globe.
The High and the Mighty was William Wellman.
Yes, it
and
was.
I was going to Westlake with his daughters.
Oh, well, Sissy
Patty.
I know. Sissy I know.
Yeah, and Patty
And-
Wellman.
Yes, and Bill Wellman Jr. I know.
So you got a big. I mean, he was like the biggest
He was.
director to work with,
He was
right?
terrific. It was an interesting thing how I got that role. It's a little bit of a story for how much time we have, but I had a great agent.
And how'd you get a great agent?
I was studying acting with John Morley, who was a coach, and his next door neighbor was Leon Lance.
And that's how it happened?
That's how I got it.
How smart, right?
We only had 10 clients, and we all worked. And we were like his family. That's all he cared about. I never went to a casting director. He always got me to the director.
Is that right?
And he took me over to Bat Jack, which was John Wayne's company,
Right.
for this role.
Right.
And Andy McLaughlin was this first AD. He became a great director. But Bill Wellman was not there. And Andy said, I think you'd be great to play this part. Come to Warner Brothers tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Gave me the sides. I went home. And I said, what am I going to wear? So my mother and I went out looking for what I was going to wear for the screen test. Well, we didn't have what we have today. When Wellman, to say, taking messages on the phone, there was no way of reaching me because I wasn't home.
Right, no cell
Wellman blew
phones.
his top. He said, what are you telling this girl I never saw her before in my life to test tomorrow morning? Are you crazy? It's not going to happen. You tell her she's not coming. I didn't approve of this. Andy could never reach me.
Oh.
So the next morning, I was supposed to be there at 8 o'clock. I got there at 7. I'm always early.
Smart.
And what happened was they said, you better find that girl and tell her she's not testing. But John Smith, who nobody ever heard of at that time either, partner that he had to test with dropped out that morning because her agent didn't think it was a big enough thing for her. So they had no one to test with John Smith.
So there you were.
There I was.
7 in the morning, early ahead.
So they threw me in. There was 10 people testing. We were like 7th or 8th. And Wellman does not like to, he just kind of tells you a little bit, and then he just puts the first rehearsal on film. When we finished the take, he said, that's it. You are my Nell Buck. You are my, whatever his name was. And we got the part before we ever left the set.
So there you were. And then
that
offers kept rolling in.
Well, then I got the Golden Globe. So then,
Right.
and it was a major motion picture.
Yes.
And I was under contract to John Wayne for about 5 years.
And you did a lot of TV. You had big successes. You did Hallmark Hall of Fame and Playhouse 90 and Studio.
The first live Hallmark Hall of Fame. Well, what happened was...
It was the live.
It was live. We had live in those days. When I went to John Wayne and I said, look, I'm too young to play opposite you. I appreciate being under contract and getting paid every week. But all the studios, the conglomerates, had their contract players. It's never going to happen for me. And I know if you're successful in motion pictures, you do not go into television. That's like a step down. I said, but do you mind if I do that? Because I really want to work and I really want to get my craft. I never had any lessons in acting. I've been very lucky.
Is that right?
Yeah. So he said, do it. And so I did the first live Hallmark Hall of Fame, and the second live Hallmark Hall of Fame, and the third.
It just kept rolling,
and then
didn't
matinee
it?
theater. I never stopped working.
It never stopped.
I was so lucky.
But then the turning point.
When I met
we want to
Stanley.
get to it with
Stanley.
Jerry Lewis.
Oh, with Jerry Lewis, yeah. Well, Jerry had wanted me for about 3 movies, and I said to him...
Were you working with him in TV
No,
at all?
No. I said, Jerry, I love your movies, but I said, but can I be funny or no? I said, I have to be a straight man. I said, I don't really know how to do that. I said, it's not for me. I don't like to play those vacuous girls. Thank you, though. Well, my father passed away unexpectedly, and I went back to Texas to settle his estate. I was gone for a year. And when I came,
you were?
And when I came back,
Wow.
I couldn't get back into the industry.
Because I was going to say, that's a long time.
There he is, because in this industry, if you're on a roll and you're not there,
Yeah.
well, you can. So he had me. He knew it. And he came to me and he says, okay, I'm going to triple your salary. I'm going to make all your clothes. You have a star treatment. Will you do it now? It was an offer I really couldn't
This was
refuse.
Jerry saying this all
Jerry.
to you?
Mm-hmm.
There you were.
And I said yes. And that's how I met Stanley.
And that was the turning point in your life.
Yeah.
You got married right away?
We got, no, it took him a year to get a date.
Oh.
No,
You're tough.
I wasn't interested. I really loved my career,
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
And it had to be a pretty exceptional guy to get me to get away from that. Of
And he
course,
was, wasn't he?
He was, and I walked onto the Ship of Fools set because Vivian Lee was
right.
working, and that's where he first saw me. It was a closed set, and I was just right across the soundstage doing Jerry's
You went,
movie.
who's that beautiful woman?
And he called my manager, and he called me and said, he'd like to take you to dinner. I said, you get me out of this. You know, I don't do this. And I said, if he wants to see me, it's over the desk. I said, but isn't this picture cast? So I said, if he's not, I said, no, I don't do it. So
Because you weren't in the picture then.
No, I wasn't in that movie. I was in
No.
Jerry's movie, but I wasn't in Ship of Fools.
You were.
So it took him a year. He called consistently, and finally my manager said, you know, I think it'd be very nice if you told him you didn't want to see him. I'm tired of handling this for you. I said, well, you're right. So he called me, and I made him wait another. I said, I'm working. Luckily, Joan, I was always working, you know.
You're so lucky.
And
I
I
said
said,
to give it up, boom, like that.
Well, after I started, I dated him. I gave him one date, and I said, I can only give you 2 hours. But I kept watching my watch. I'm surprised he ever called me back, but he did. And we were married 9 months later, and I never looked back.
You're so lucky that you could give it up and enjoy the life you had with him.
Well, he had 2 children by his first marriage that lived with him, and I didn't know anything about children. I'm an only child. But it was another role, you know. So, and then we had our own 2, and so I had 4 altogether, and it was a great life.
It's so nice. And before we leave, I know you started the Kraemer Library.
Yes, I have that. I have the Stanley Kraemer Award at the Producers Guild. I have one at UCLA, and I have established film festivals all over the country under Stanley's name with social issues.
So I think that's fantastic. You're keeping the name alive. And you're back working.
Well, yeah, I'm back. I've never stopped working because, you know, raising children is work.
Oh, please. We
It's a
know that,
harder-
don't we?
It's a harder job than making motion pictures,
I
believe me.
know. Thank you so much for being
I
with
would love
us.
every minute of being
Thank
with
you. And thanks for watching. Keep writing to my email at jaquinn1@aol.com. See you next time.